Now is not the time to take notes about class size, majors, meal plans, housing options, and athletics. Now is the time to take note of the groundbreaking research and teaching excellence that has earned us a place in the prestigious Association of American Universities, of ranking in the top 50 universities in the US and the world. Take note of our new Engineering Innovation Center, where students will develop products using advanced manufacturing tools such as 3D printers. Take note of our Center for Student Services and the Center for Career Development, and our sustainability initiatives. Now is the time to take note of our more than 90 study abroad and internship programs around the globe, of our 1 million hours of community service. Take note of the city of Boston, our city. It's time to take note of the people you'll meet, the people who will challenge, inspire, and mentor you, the people who will be with you every step of the way, today and for years to come. Take note of Boston University.
Is an extremely stressful time in your life, right? Every school has different deadlines, different requirements, they're all looking for different things. So today my goal is really to outline what we're looking for specifically here at Boston University. And first and foremost, the goal of our office is to complete a really thorough and comprehensive review of each application that comes across our desk. So we actually take something called the holistic approach to the review process. How many of you have heard the buzzword term holistic approach? Cool. How many know what it means? That checks out. Yeah. I feel like a lot of schools talk about a holistic approach and it sounds really good, right? So nobody ever really says what that means. But essentially for us, what a holistic approach means is that you are so much more than just a transcript, right? You're not just your GPA and the classes you've chosen to take. You are a unique individual, right? You come from all over the globe. You have different life experiences. You speak different languages. You have different family structures. All of these come together to form the unique individual that you are. So as we're evaluating your application, we're actually evaluating the whole application. We take each piece of it into consideration as we're forming our review. So one part of your application will not make or break your decision. It's the whole thing that gets factored in. Now, this does come with a little bit of a disclaimer because we can only evaluate the information that you provide, right? So as you're filling out your applications and starting to work on those, I encourage you to provide information that lets us know a little bit more about you as a person and not just as a student, right? We want to get that full picture as to who you are as that individual so that by the time we get to the end of your application, we feel like we know you a little bit, right? And can see you possibly being here on our campus. Now, to give you an idea of our applicant pool, this is our most recent applicant cycle. So our current incoming first year students. This past year, we received right around 81,000 applications here to BU from all 50 states and 168 different countries. So truly, again, from all across the globe, students are applying here to BU. Every time I get this slide, you get the concerned looks from parents because how are we doing a holistic review with 81,000 applications, right? I get it, fair question. We have a very large admission team, which definitely helps. But furthermore, our admission team is also split into a domestic team and an international team. And it is our job to become very familiar with our territories. So our international team is tasked into different countries. They travel to those countries. They get to know the different programs, course levels, grading scales that occur all across the globe. And then our domestic team is also split out into different regions, different territories, different states. And we will also travel to your high schools, to your college fairs, and get to know the things that are happening in your area and also how your high school may structure your classes. The other important piece is because we become very familiar with the territories that we represent, we're also aware of any major events that might happen in your high school or in your city or your town that might impact a student who are applying here. So we become very familiar with the areas that we represent. So for example, do I have anybody in the room today from Connecticut? Cool. Hey, I'm your representative. So that also means that all of our contact information is on our website. So you can actually go in, you can figure out who your representative is, and if you have questions or concerns, you can send them an email. You can talk to them, right? They're an actual person, it's a face behind the screen. So that allows you to be able to have all of those questions that you might have get answered throughout your application process. Now this is a further idea of where our students are applying from, right? Again, they're coming from all across the globe, but they're also coming from all different types of backgrounds, different racial, ethnic, socioeconomic statuses, but also more importantly, coming with all different knowledge behind the college application process, right? So we have students who are applying here to BU who might be the oldest in their family and both their parents went off to college and they have a designated college counselor in their high school. So they've got it down pat, they understand the college application process. We also have some students who are applying who are maybe child number 3 of 4 in their family who have been going on college visits since they were 12 years old. So that by the time it got to them, their parents were like, you should know how to do this. You're on your own, right? That was me. I'm not bitter about it. It's fine. But we also have some students who are applying who might be first-time college goers in their family. Or maybe they go to a high school that doesn't have the resources for a designated college counselor, right? So our goal as an admission staff is to meet you where you are at in your process. So whether you have 5 questions or 50 questions, it doesn't matter to us. Ask them, right? Because we want to be as transparent as possible and help you as much as we can throughout this process. Now, when it comes to our application deadlines, there are 2 decision types that students can apply with. The first is early decision. Now, early decision is a binding agreement. You can only apply early decision to one school. So it is your true number one. You can't imagine your life without it. You're gonna die if you don't go to this school, right? It's that school that you love and can really see yourself at. So if after today and this information and hearing Cole speak and walking around campus, you're like, yeah, this is BU, early decision is an amazing option. But it is a binding agreement. So it says that if you are admitted, you're withdrawing your applications from all other institutions and you're committed to enrolling here. We have 2 early decision deadlines for students. Those are November 1st and January 4th. So maybe if you want to take a little extra time and apply early decision 2 in that January deadline, that's a great option as well. Now, if that binding agreement sounds a little scary, which it can be intimidating, it is binding, right? We also have regular decision, which is our non-binding agreement type. This, you'll apply by January 4th, you'll hear back around mid-March, and then you have until May 1st to kind of weigh your pros and cons with other schools before, hopefully, enrolling here at BU. But as you can see from the chart there, it's pretty close to a 50-50 split of who we enroll from both early decision 1 and 2 and regular decision. So we don't really have a major preference over which way you apply. It's entirely up to you and what you're interested in doing. Now, usually in the summer, we get a lot of questions about what classes are you even looking for, right? What classes should I sign up to take next year in order to be competitive here at BU? Really what we're looking for is a well-rounded high school career. So we're looking for 4 years of English, 3 to 4 years in a math, science, and history, and then 2 years of a world language. But I encourage you to strive towards 4 years in all of these subject areas where you can. Right? We want to see students who have that well-rounded foundation before they're coming up into Boston University as well. Now, I will say for all students, we do recommend that you take pre-calculus. It's not required, but we do recommend it. However, if you are interested in the Questrom School of Business or the College of Engineering, we do require calculus be on your transcript. So if you haven't taken it yet and you're interested in one of those 2 subject areas, get it on your transcript because we're going to be looking to see that. All right, we're going to do something that I think is a little fun. I don't know. Do you think it's fun, Cole?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. He has to say that. We're actually going to take you through a potential applicant. So here on the board here we have Charlie. And first I would like to offer a big congratulations because you are now all the BU Board of Admissions. So welcome. Right? This is a potential applicant. And before I start this, I would like to preface this by saying Charlie is not real. Okay, this is not a real person. You're not Charlie. Charlie's not you. Okay, so if you're, oh, I don't know what that was. Okay, if your academics do not look exactly like Charlie's, that is okay. This is fake. I'm not even going to tell you if he's admitted at the end because he's not real. And if you need further evidence that he's not real, his headphones still have wires, so it is straight. I'm sorry. My headphones still have wires. It's okay. All right, so the first thing that we take a look at is your high school GPA, right? And we're looking not only on a year-to-year basis, but also the overall performance of your grade. or your grades. So we also receive your senior year grades as well. All 4 years get taken into consideration, so make sure we're staying strong in our grades all the way till the end. We will get your mid-year and your final year grades for your senior year. So it's really important that you're staying on track and pushing through all the way to graduation. So what we're really looking to see in your performance is that overall trend. Are you staying consistent in your grades? Is there improvements? Do we see a downward trend for any reason? And we also look to see a general understanding behind the context of those grades. So let's say, for example, Charlie moved states in freshman year. Completely moved states, started in a new high school, had a really hard time adjusting. We might see something like this. And this to us is not a red flag. This is more of like a light bulb moment that says to us, something happened here. Let's look into this. So we might look at your counselor letter of recommendation, a teacher letter of rec, or there is an additional information section on your application where you can provide context behind those grades as well to give us that full picture. The other thing that we might see, because we do get your senior year grades, TikTok, distracting, right? We might see something like this. And again, this is not a red flag to us. It is a light bulb moment. Something's going on here, right? But a lot of times we get these grades after you submit your application. So we wouldn't find it in a letter of recommendation or in that additional information section. This is where it becomes very important to know the contact information for your admission representative. You can send them an email and say, contact tracing was a pain this year. I was in and out of school every 2 weeks. I couldn't keep up. I had a really hard time. Or maybe I had a death in the family. Or maybe there was a natural disaster event in my city and we closed school for a month, right? Whatever the reasoning is, give us that context behind your grades because it gets taken into consideration as we go through. So we'll bump it back up because he works hard. The next thing that we look at is the classes that you're taking. Like I mentioned, we're looking to see that well-rounded high school career. So going 3 to 4 years in each of those subject areas. But we also get a profile from your high school that lets us know what types of classes are offered, what different course levels are available, and how a student can challenge themselves in their own high school. So we're looking to see if your school offers honors and AP courses. Are you taking advantage of those? If they offer something like the IB diploma program or A-levels, the Cambridge program, whatever those things are you challenging yourself based off of what's offered in your high school? We also look to see if students are challenging themselves across subject areas. So you can see here that in 11th grade, Charlie's taking AP English and AP US History, but in 12th grade, he's taking AP Calculus and AP Economics. So it's a balance across the two different subject areas as well. He is taking AP Calculus in 12th grade, so if he wanted engineering or a custom school of business, he has that calculus requirement. And then I also always like to point out that in 12th grade, he's taking Spanish 5. So this to us says he's actually taken 5 years of Spanish within 4 years of high school, not only meeting our 2-year requirement, but actually exceeding it and going above and beyond in that area. Now for next year, the 2022 to 2023 admission cycle, we are test optional. So if you would like to submit your test scores, you absolutely can, and they will be considered with your application. But if you don't, they won't be considered, and it's not going to be held against you. So it is truly up to you if you would like to submit those scores. When you're kind of weighing if you want to submit those or not, I encourage you to look at your overall high school performance. If you feel like your test scores are an accurate reflection of your performance or better, feel free to send them in. If they're not quite there or worse, don't send them in. And that's totally fine. So as you can see here, Charlie chose to submit his test scores. He had a 1390 on the SAT and a 30 on the ACT. Based off of his overall GPA and the classes he chose to take, these are fine scores. They wouldn't really impact his application one way or the other. They're pretty much on par with his overall performance. Now the next thing that we look at is my favorite part, which is the application essays. This is where I get that full picture moment on students, right? This is where I really get to know you. There are 2 essays that students will need to complete. The first is that personal essay that you're going to send out to most of your schools. As you're writing this, I encourage you to provide at least one new piece of information in that essay that I'm not going to be able to find somewhere else. Right? We don't have a preference about what you write that essay about. We just want to learn more about you and see that you're excited to share this information. We also look for basic things like spelling and grammar and punctuation, so make sure we edit those before we send them in is always a good idea. The second essay that we have is our supplemental, which asks what excites you about Boston University, right? It's that why BU question. I know a lot of schools ask similar ones. But as we look at this response, we're really looking to see specific things that are happening here at BU and not at other institutions that make you really excited, right? We want details about why you would like to come to BU, the things that are happening here and why that matters to you as well. There are a lot of institutions in the city of Boston. I don't want to read an essay that says, I want to go to BU because I love the city of Boston. There are so many, like why this one, right? The other piece that we're looking for, again, is spell check and grammar and things like that. So I encourage you, as you're writing this response, if you're someone that likes to copy and paste answers from a Word doc as you're drafting them out, make sure you're sending the appropriate response to the appropriate school. Maybe double check that, especially when there's an institution like 15 minutes away that shares half of our name. That ends up college, right? It's a really good school. I don't want to know why you want to go there, right? So just double checking and making sure you're sending those responses. We want to know why you're excited to come to Boston University. Very important. The last thing that we look at in your application is your letters of recommendation and the things that you are involved in. This lets us know who you are from the point of view from somebody else, and it also gives us insight into the things that you're involved in your school and how you kind of balance all of the different things that life throws your way. So we're really just looking to see how you're spending your time, what you're involved in, whether that's clubs and organizations, leadership activities, community service, or even things like working a part-time or even a full-time job, babysitting your siblings, taking care of a grandparent, right? These are all things that take your time, and so we want to know about it and how you're able to balance the things that you're doing in your life. So all of these things come together for Charlie. Board of Admissions, how do we feel? Good student? Bad student? Great, you're all hired. The last thing that I'm going to mention briefly with you all is parents' favorite slide, which is financial aid. Right, we obviously know that higher education is getting more and more expensive as the years go on, but we do have a very strong commitment here to BU to making it as affordable as possible. So we actually have a program called Affordable BU, which is a commitment to meeting 100% of demonstrated need for admitted first-year domestic and permanent resident students. Now, in order to qualify for Affordable BU, we need two forms. Those are the FAFSA, which is that federal financial aid form, and the CSS profile. You should be submitting these both around the same time that you are applying to Boston University so that we're getting your application and your financial aid documentation at the same time and are able to form that review of your financial aid and award it accordingly. Now, we do also have merit scholarships, but as you can see from the chart there, they're very competitive. About 8% of the award that we give out each year is in merit scholarships. There are two main ones that students can be considered for. The first is the presidential, which is $25,000 per year. Any student applying to Boston University is eligible to be considered for the presidential so long as you submit your app by December 1st. The second is the trustee, which is our full tuition scholarship here at BU. Again, you need to apply by December 1st, but there's also an additional essay that needs to be completed to be considered for those. So if merit scholarships are something that you would like to be considered for, an aid that you would like to receive, you must submit your application by December 1st. That's the most important thing. Highlight it, circle it in red on your calendar, whatever you have to do. December 1st is our deadline for merit scholarships. Now, I know I talk really fast. I have a whole lot of information, but hopefully this was helpful as to figuring out